first, I would love for you to talk to us about what is a brave space. What is your definition of brave space?
Ooh, for me, a brave space is one, and whether or not it's physical, it could be virtual, but I would prefer that it's face to face in some way. But it's a space where you are empowered to bring so many facets of your identity to that experience, that conversation, and that in that space, everyone who is there is guided by um, the expectation that you have the ability to be vulnerable, you
Mm,
have the ability to observe, you have the ability to challenge and push back. But ultimately, this is a space where you have the opportunity and the gift to love on yourself and be open to being loved in a different way. And so sometimes that happens in our classrooms where people talk about safe spaces and you being able to take time out for yourself to, manage your emotions, manage the traumas, manage the transitions, that go on. But there are other ways and spaces, whether or not you're in a classroom, you're in a staff room, you are in, kind of kicking it with your people, your squad, you have the ability to nestle into those different identities that show up, be able to have some really strong and direct conversations about phenomena that's happening, whether or not it's about across the lines of gender or race or socialization. But find yourself nurtured in being in an environment where people will be respectful of your humanity, but are willing to push you as well.
thank you for that definition, and I love that. Now, I guess the question, if we're talking about a school setting,
Yeah.
and as a how do, who is responsible? I guess the question I want to ask, and I know the answer, but I want to share. I want you to share this with folks. Who's
All right.
responsible for that brave space, for creating that brave space?
The brave space is a responsibility of everyone. For me, many places, whether or not I'm doing workshops or class lessons and things like that, I talk about a session like the ethos, and I can't say that this ethos was my originality. It was actually inspired by Dr. Darnisa Amonte Jackson. She is phenomenal. So if you are familiar with her, she does a talk. She's an incredible leader in mind who's done a ton of work. She's from Harvard University and has her own consulting agency. I can definitely share some more details in a moment. But she talked about this way of being. And so she has she named five things that we should do. One, be present with a growth mindset and understanding that we're on a continuum in this work. Like we don't like we don't
Yeah.
come in getting it all and ending it. But we also have to engage with positive intent and respect. If we understand that we're human beings, we're on this evolution, that we have to do that. We have to acknowledge that bias and privilege are part of our own personal stories, and they also are part of each other's personal stories. And know that that's in the space. You acknowledge that it may exist or persist, and you talk about how is that making you feel, or how are you leading and leveraging, your privilege in the spaces that you're in. We accept closure, non-closure, because people think, oh, I've had my conversation, I'm all set. Like that's not how we work as human beings.
Mm.
It's the long game, right? And then you have to lean into the discomfort, because there are going to be some things that are said that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. If you feel comfortable the whole time that you're in a brave space, I don't think it's really designed for you to be brave.
Mm.